And good morning, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Day Trader Weekly's pre-market show. Today we're going to specifically be discussing Boeing and what the stock is doing right now, and what the technicals are telling us, what the fundamentals are telling us, and why it's so important that you don't get trapped up in a position with Boeing right now, and how we can use mean reversion and linear regression and our very accurate technical analysis to kind of paint a picture here on what Boeing's going to do. So some of you who may follow us saw we made a huge move on Boeing in the past 2 weeks on the short end. We predicted a move of about $15 to the downside from the 185 range. We've been shorting Boeing all year since January, since it was about 215 range, and it continues to drop here. And I'm going to just briefly discuss a couple things here on why Boeing's going to continue to drop, and where we see Boeing long term and where we see Boeing in the short term. And so we're going to start out basically with the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are the CEO of Boeing, Mr. Calhoun, is going to be leaving Boeing towards the end of the year. Now, they made this announcement about a month ago, and very odd announcement because it doesn't really do anything. He's going to be there for another 7 months on a declining, company has been declining significantly this year. They have not announced a new CEO. They have no further guidance. They have a bunch of problems with production. The production numbers are down. We got a whistleblower incident with a 787 Dreamliner, which may be a problem. They have issues with Spirit Aerosystems on a DEI front, and also they're trying to acquire them, but they're facing some adversity with Airbus, and just a lot of problems here for Boeing, and a lot of problems in the pipeline haven't been solved. So when we look at fundamentals, when stocks have an issue, a single issue, an isolated issue, generally they can have some good guidance and come out with some information or some future plans to kind of dig themselves out of the mess. Boeing in this case has a long list of problems that is significantly hurting the stock and driving it down. So from the fundamental end of it, we have an open-ended investigations, open-ended issues with the CEO, new CEO. It's not going to be announced until after the election, late in the year, a declining stock, and a bunch of open issues that haven't been resolved, that are long-term, that aren't going to be resolved overnight. These are long-standing issues that are going to drive the stock down. Now, on the long term, Boeing will be a $300 stock again. So there's two ways to trade Boeing. If you're trading on a long term, you can buy these dips here and load up long term, because I can almost guarantee you in the next year or two, we're going to see Boeing approaching the 250, 300 range again. So long term, this is a great time to buy. But on a short term, if you're short term swing trading or day trading, you really want to be on the short end of it, shorting this thing down, because really it's broken all of these major levels. It had levels at 175, it had levels at 180. Now we're breaking into the 160s, and we are just showing red on all time frames, specifically the daily. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some things here. As you can see on the screen, I'm showing a couple time frames here where we are very bearish on the short term. And when I say short term, I mean the next couple months, going into the summertime. Regardless of what happens with the market, we could say the entire market's overbought, which it is. We're going to see a significant pullback at some point this year, depending on what happens with interest rates. The timing is a little odd, but Boeing's going to be leading the pack as far as stocks that are dropping. And we're here. So both on the fundamental end of it, we have extremely bad news and lots of drivers to drive this stock down. And on the technical end of it, we also are just seeing bearish on the weekly, monthly, daily. Very difficult. We do see some spikes in the stock, and you have to understand what these spikes are. These spikes are, like I said, it's a good time to load long term for Boeing. It's reaching new lows that it hasn't seen in a while. We know Boeing is the biggest airline manufacturer in the world. They are going to get their shit together eventually, most likely in the next year or two, and it will be a $250, $300 stock again. So you're going to see institutions buying it, which will cause these little jumps on the daily, intraday. which will show little reversal patterns. But this is by no means a signal that the stock is going to rocket again. It is going to continue to drop on this news. We have earnings coming up for Boeing next Wednesday, but we already know, we have facts here that production is down. So the analysts most likely are going to lower the expectations. They already have in some cases, but we are going to see more lower lows because of that. We're going to see weak earnings on Boeing on top of bad news. So yes, we're going to see reloads from big institutions and people piling up positions. That is going to happen to keep the stock, from completely falling apart, but you're going to see it continue to make lower lows. How low we go, I'm not sure. Right now, I have it at about the 160 range in the coming weeks, but we will see. But stay tuned. I will continue to update you on Boeing. We are continuing to take short positions here on Boeing regardless, and it is a great way to make short-term gains as this thing drops. But understand that you can really play this one both ways. If you take it, you can buy calls or you can buy this stock on long-term plays for long-term holds, because it is going to recover from this. It is just going to take some time. But on the short term, we're going to stay short. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe for more free updates and stock tips just like this one. Enjoy. Happy trading.